Well, I'm delighted to say on my channel today, I think one of the finest political commentators in the country. It's Mr. Patrick O'Flynn. Patrick, first of all, how are you?
Yeah, I'm fine, Michael. Enjoying a brief spell of sunny weather that we've been having. Yeah, and a lot going on in politics, from the state opening of Parliament to, well, Beergate, not Partygate anymore. Plenty to talk about.
Start with the Labour Party, to me, it seems, Patrick, that are in a state of disarray. Now, it's fair to say, the Conservatives, as many expected, didn't have a great set of election results. But make no mistake about it, this was a pretty dire set of election results for Labour as well. It's just been confirmed, in fact, that in England, Labour's net change from before polling day in terms of seats, up 119. Now, to give you the perspective on that, the Lib Dems equivalent number up 159. That's pretty dire, isn't it, for a Labour Party, presumably of aspirations to form a government?
Yeah, the Liberal Democrats were far bigger gainers up in the red wall areas. Labour seemed to stand still. What better combination of circumstances could they have had than the cost of living squeeze? Seven bells having been knocked out of the Prime Minister's own profile and reputation by these week after week of Partygate, and Labour just hadn't got any momentum, hadn't got any oomph whatsoever. The Lib Dems, if you were the Tories, you'd prefer to see the Lib Dems advancing against you in southern seats, because we know from history the Lib Dems do this in midterm. They become the protest party, and almost every time that melts away by the time voters come to consider who they want to be the government of the country at a general election. So to me, it looks like Starmer yet again has flattered to deceive some Labour people, convinced he was on the way to becoming Prime Minister. It just doesn't look like that right now.
There was also a YouGov poll that just came out today that showed Labour down 3 points to 36%, the Tories up 2. So Labour 36, Conservatives 35, so a 1 point lead for Labour. What this all points to me at the moment, Patrick, is, and I've been talking about this for a long time, I know you have as well, is that, on the current trajectory, Keir Starmer's hopes of becoming Prime Minister would largely be reliant on a deal with the likes, perhaps, of the Lib Dems, the SNP, and others. And let's not forget, the Lib Dems explicitly pushing to rejoin the EU single market.
Yeah, does anyone really believe out there a word Keir Starmer says about his attitude to being in or out of the EU, given that he completely broke his word after the 2017 election, where he promised voters as Labour Brexit spokesman the party was honour bound to accept the result, and then started conspiring against it, and then was the author of that second referendum policy. So you see the likes of Ed Davey and the absolute Euro fanatic Lib Dems and their price for a coalition. How hard is Starmer going to resist that temptation of setting out an Operation Rejoin? Well, you'd have to be born yesterday to trust him on that. And equally, a deal with the SNP would almost certainly have to involve a second referendum in short order on Scottish independence, even though the last one was supposed to settle matters for a generation. So that all has vibes of the 2015 campaign, where Ed Miliband came unstuck because people thought Labour can't win an outright majority, and you're going to have this bonkers rainbow vested interest shambles, and people veered away, and that gave the Tories their majority. So I think to become Prime Minister, Starmer's going to have to convince people Labour can win a majority, and it seems pretty obvious from these results and everything else, including the polls, that he can't.